Welcome to the Stage Analysis Weekend video. It's Sunday the 6th of November 2022. I'm going to split the video into two parts this weekend again, as I want to get the first part out a little bit earlier. So part one's going to focus, we've got a special group focus on the gold stocks. We're going to look at gold and silver individually first, stage analysis of both of those, as there's some changes going on at the end of the week. And then look at the gold mining stocks and how they're shaping up. So there was a number of moves in those at the end of the week as well. Before getting into the more regular content, we're going to look through the major market indexes, have a look at the industry group relative strength rankings and see what groups are on the move. Get into the market breadth data, which obviously I consider the most important part of stage analysis. Obviously is one of the least used for most people, but I think it's literally critical in order to successfully trade the stage analysis method. So I recommend you stay for that bit if you're obviously a member. Non-members obviously are only going to get the first section on the gold focus. And then later on in part two, I'll cover off some of the stage two week stage two breakouts and go through the watch list stocks for the week in a bit more detail, marking up those live. So okay, let's get going. Starting with gold using the GLD ETF. Here, obviously, there's multiple different tickers that you can use, the physical gold ETFs as well, but they're all fairly similar. I know lots of people have preferences which way they go, but obviously the stage analysis is fairly close. The gold tracks fairly closely, so the stage analysis doesn't change. You can find on different types of ETFs compared to actual futures that there can be a huge difference in stage analysis in some because of the tracking errors. You look at oil stocks, for example, or oil ETFs compared to actually the actual oil price and things like that, then it can be massively different, and natural gas, etc. So gold and silver, though, they track very closely, so you can use the larger ETFs, the GLD, the SLV, PSLV, I think for silver, and PHSY maybe for physical gold, or CEF is another one for physical gold, I believe. But basically at the moment we're in what we call potentially stage 4B minus. You can see we had a weekly close just above the declining 10-week moving average here, which is the equivalent of the 50-day moving average. So if we zoom in on a daily chart on this quickly, you can see we had a little pop up on Friday, gap up move with a 3% move on the day, big jump for gold on a daily basis, which was largely due to a big move in the dollar index. If I quickly flick through to the dollar index chart, we see the DX. This one. Index futures here. I've been highlighting this for a little while now in terms of a potential from this, since this buying climax bar on the 26th of September week there. So it's a buying climax on a weekly candle there. So if you drop down to a daily time frame on this, you can see that base structure starting to develop. So typical Wyckoff characteristics, your buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary tests, and now we're potentially in phase B of that structure at the moment in the dollar index. So it's had a big effect on what happens with the likes of gold, silver, the various other kind of material type stocks, metals, copper, etc. So you can see there was a significant bar on Friday in the dollar, which had a big impact on all of those, especially gold and silver stocks there. You can see that's potentially the largest daily candle we've had on the dollar index of the year. So definitely obviously what we would call a reversal significant bar there. And you can see the weekly is now potentially starting, although it still would be considered stage 2B at the moment. You'd give it a minus rating at this point. So stage 2B minus, as potentially it's topping out here. We're starting to see some signs of potential stage 3, although it's very early as we've had this huge stage 2 advance. So we'll go back to shift me back to where are we? Back to the gold chart here, you can see, so we now mark this as a stage 4B minus, as I said. And what 4B minus means is that it's potentially starting to form base structure, and that it may well have put in a low, but it's too early technically to be considered stage 1, as we're still a long way below that declining 30-week moving average there. You can see the 30-week moving average is all the way up here in the GLD 165, so 16494 there. So still got 5% move in order to get back up into that. So in terms of gold, that's quite a big range. If we look at silver, actually showing a bit more stage 1 characteristics. So as you can see, it's moving above its 30-week moving average with this week's move. So it was in stage 4B minus potentially, and we've got a little base structure starting to develop in silver here. So starting to show some stage 1 characteristics, but as you can see, we're still in this declining channel that's been going now for the majority of the year. So since the start of 2021, so almost a 2-year channel that silver's been in the downtrend. Stage 4 started around mid 2021, around this kind of area here, and we started to drop down into stage 4 type behavior on obviously breaking the downtrend line there, and the 30-week moving average rolling over. A little bit of a messy chart, this one, but you can see if we drop to a daily chart here, we give a little bit more clearly what's been going on recently. You can see the little base structure that's been developing underneath this declining 200-day moving average, currently at 19.88 in the SLV here. So you can see we've made a little bit of spring type action, higher low test, starting to follow through. So after obviously the original selling climax, automatic rallies, secondary tests. So potentially we might be seeing phase C into phase D type behavior. And if that is the case from a structural point of view, you'd be looking for a sign of strength rally out of the range into above that 200-day moving average, potentially start to hold above that and start to form a backup type range in there. So if we go back to the weekly chart on this one, at that point in there, you can see it's still coming into a major zone of resistance here. So you can see there was heavy volume through this area here as well. So actually, if I go to this chart here, we'll get let's actually get silver futures up. It'll be about a proxy for the actual volume. So let's get the volume profile on this, let's see where our major zones of resistance are. So up here is your peak liquidity level in here, so around the 24 level. So ways to go to get up into that range yet. Shift it. So still around 16% move in order to get up into there. So there is range in the short term for a move there. If we look at you can get the anchored VWAP on that as well from the near term high. It's not the anchored VWAP. That one. Let's see, we're just coming into the declining anchored VWAP there, which is around 21.12.5 at the moment. So potential level of interest that it's coming up to. So if we can start to get a move above that, looking back to the daily chart in here, so we start to move out of here, that will break it out of this potential downtrend channel that it's been in for a while. So if it starts to break up and out through here, as I highlighted on the daily chart, we could start to, the 30-week moving average could start to flatten out, and we could start to potentially see even some early stage 2 behavior. But as we know, just from what we were just looking at there is some resistance up above from where it's obviously gone sideways through this massive range that it's been in. So a lot of overhead in silver, same in gold. Obviously that big resistance zone through there. So we do the same for gold here. We do the GC1 and get the volume profile on this. You can see obviously overhead resistance up there around we got there 1790 kind of area there in the volume profile. But let's see this over here. See the volume profile range through here. So around that 1790 to 1820 level in there is the peak liquidity zone in there. So that's a major area of resistance above. So if we can get obviously a move up into that kind of area, it's around 6 to 8% kind of range there. So not a huge amount away at the moment, but like I said, in terms of actual gold moves, that is quite a big move. It's obviously taken a long time to drift down to this lower area in stage 4B minus here. So with that said, with the dollar index potentially showing some topping type behavior for the last few months and potentially starting to show early signs of stage 3, we've got gold potentially in stage 4B minus here, attempted to move back above its declining 10-week moving average. We've got silver already above that 10-week moving average there, but the 10-week's still below the 30-week moving average there, but we're starting to show some signs of stage 1 behavior, but again, overhead resistance. So let's look at the individual stocks and see what they're doing, as obviously these will lag what the actual individual stocks do. So we look at gold stocks in particular here. So we start. I've ordered these in terms of relative strength. So this is all of the gold stocks in the group with I think I got rid of anything that was over the counter stocks or was anything a little bit more volatile. So this is done by the SCTR scores, so stock charts relative strength rankings here. So 83.1 on CDE. So this is currently the strongest in the group. If we look at the weekly chart here, you can see it's broken up above that 30-week moving average and is starting to hover above that now. So still got some, obviously, an overhead resistance zone that it's moving up into. So at the moment, this one be considered in stage 1 at the moment. So if we look at OR, also breaking out of this lower base structure, starting to move above this 200-day moving average here. So again, look at the weekly chart on this. Whenever you do stage analysis, always look at the weekly chart in order to get the major stage. We've got this base structure breakout. 30-week moving average is still declining. So at the moment, still be considered stage 1, but obviously could potentially start to move up into stage 2. BVN testing the top of the range at the moment that it's been in for a little while. So drifted up through August into October and it's consolidated tightly, obviously making higher lows on its way up. So starting to test up towards that 200-day moving average. Also got starting to move above the declining 30-week moving average here as well. So again, this is starting to change of behavior. So potential move into stage 1 for this one at the moment. And let me look at, I haven't looked at earnings for these quickly. Let me go back to the start and make sure see which ones have got earnings. So we've got next earnings on a couple of these. So we've got some near-term earnings coming up for Franco-Nevada, AMRK, SSRM, CDE, which we've just highlighted. So on the 9th there, OR also coming up this week, Hecla Mining, First Majestic Silver, Kinross Gold, and PAAS, Pan American Silver, and Sandstorm Gold all reporting this week. So let's have a look at these quickly. We looked at that one. So PAS is building a base structure at the bottom there, but still underneath, obviously, resistant zones in here. So at the moment, potential spring on some heavy volume there, but obviously got earnings coming up this week. So we'll see how that one behaves. AGC, Kinross Gold, showing some reasonable relative strength, moving up towards its 200-day moving average, but still not breaking out to higher highs as yet, but starting to make higher lows within the base structure that's been developing. So looking for this one to continue to build up towards its 200-day moving average. AG, one of the larger silver names, obviously 11 million volume on the shares there, on the volume. So you can see the structure that's been building in this, getting close to that 200-day moving average, developing a stage 1 base structure through here. So potential for this one to start to move out towards stage 2. We need the 30-week moving average to start turning up and the 10-week to get back above that. So potentially wouldn't get that until it started to move above the $10 level. A lot of overhead resistance in this one, and a lot of other silver names. Hecla Mining, another silver name, also building a structure. Going sideways for obviously many months now, since May kind of time, but started basing particularly in July here. So again, looking for a breakout sign of strength type rally move, but obviously if it can't do that and earnings drop it back down the 50-day, then potentially could turn short again. OR also, we just highlighted that a minute ago, so we'll go through that again. SSRM, much weaker, only in what we considered stage 4B minus at the moment, gapping up above that 50-day moving average on Friday there. Got this minor base structure at the bottom here. So if you look at that on the weekly, you can see obviously nowhere near that declining 30-week moving average at the moment. So any move through here is only for obviously short-term swing traders only on that kind of one. AMRK, not looking so hot in that one, tightening up low, so you need to see this start to break above that 30-week moving average again, so could potentially be showing signs of stage 1, or obviously still could be within a more broader stage 3 or stage 4 kind of area here. It's a little bit more difficult to analyse that one, so you would say the stage 4 breakdown in here but then recovered and has gone down again, so still potentially stage 4 slash could be start moving into a 4B minus here. Let's go back. We're at 15 minutes. Okay, I won't go through any more. Don't want to make the video too long today. So as you can see, very similar behaviour in majority of the gold and silver stocks here, developing obviously stage 1 characteristics or late stage 4B minus type moves, potentially bottoming out, similar to what we're seeing in the actual metals themselves. So even the weaker end down here, nothing breaking down, making lower lows. So at the moment, starting to get back up through their 50-day moving averages. Right, let's move on to